Oh boy, what a week. Let's start with Iran because there's a ceasefire, or there was, or there is. No one knows. Back in June, after months of back and forth, the US and Iran actually signed a memorandum of understanding. This was supposed to be an off-ramp, an immediate end to military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon, looking at you, Bibi. The Strait of Hormuz reopened for commercial shipping with no charge for 60 days. The US naval blockade starts coming down right away. Temporary sanctions relief so Iran can sell oil again, and a 60-day clock, extendable by mutual consent, to negotiate a final deal on the nuclear program, full sanctions relief, unfreezing of assets, and a $300 billion reconstruction fund. So it seemed like a pretty sweet deal that could buy both sides some time. And then what does Iran do? It attacks commercial shipping again. So naturally, we hit them back. And Trump declares the MOU over and calls them scum.
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people.
And then says his negotiators can still talk if Iran wants. So it's over, but maybe not. It's a ceasefire, but maybe not. No one knows. It's a totally normal, very stable situation. But before we get deeper into Iran, we need to talk about NATO, because while all of this was playing out, Trump landed in Turkey for the NATO summit and basically told Europe they've been living off America's tab for too long and the bill is due.
Not only blaming NATO. They got a free ride. And if Biden had any brain, which he didn't, he would have said, you got to pay more. And same with Obama. Two bad presidents. But they could have asked, and you would have done that too. It would have been, I mean, who knows? But who knows if they would have done
happen? And it's huge.
It should have happened years ago, and it couldn't. But Obama didn't do it, and Biden didn't do it, and frankly, Bush didn't do it either.
So what's got Trump calling all these guys out? Well, look, every time Trump shows up to a NATO summit, he has this look on his face like a man who agreed to host Thanksgiving and then watch all his relatives show up empty-handed, eat everything, and leave early. And this time he had extra reason. Because when the US launched Operation Epic Fury, we asked our NATO allies, who we have defended, funded, and protected for decades, to help us protect shipping lanes in the Strait of Hormuz, which to me seems like a request that costs them nothing compared to what we've done for them, and we've done a lot. But of course, Spain says no and then calls the operation illegal, absurd, and cruel from the comfort of military bases we pay for on their soil. France says no, Italy says no, Germany says no, and several of them even restrict US access to their airspace and military bases for offensive operations while we are actively at war. Trump said he was testing them. Well, they failed, yet again. What a shocker. You don't get to use our umbrella and then tell us we shouldn't be fighting while you stand underneath it. That's not how alliances work or how they should work. That's called freeloading, and Trump has been calling it out since his first term. And to his credit, it's been sort of working. I mean, European defense spending has gone up, with allies now committed to spending 5% of their GDP on defense by 2035. But writing checks for your own defense is apparently a lot easier than actually showing up when your biggest ally needs you in the Strait of Hormuz. I digress. Back to Iran, because here's what I think people forget when they get lost in the back and forth of strikes and ceasefires. We genuinely tried to bring these people into the fold. The MOU wasn't just a ceasefire, or at least it wasn't designed to be. It was designed as an invitation, I think. Economic incentives, sanctions relief, reconstruction funds, which were floated for Iran's benefit, I mean, for the Iranian people. The chance for them to rejoin the global economy and act like a normal country. We killed their supreme leader and we still offer them a deal. I think that shows remarkable restraint. And what does Iran do? Well, they continue attacking commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz, while holding a funeral for their supreme leader where crowds waved Trump banners, in English of course, so there'd be no confusion. At this point in time, for those still skeptical, do these seem like people who want to be brought into the fold? And I'm not talking about the Iranian people who don't have a choice. I'm talking about their leaders. No, they don't. They want the Strait of Hormuz to be their toll booth, and they want a nuclear weapon, and they want regional domination, and they believe they are doing God's work by getting there. It's that simple. The IRGC has spent 40 years exporting terrorism, funding proxy wars, and killing people across the Middle East and beyond. This is a radical jihadist force that brutalizes its own people. So maybe when we hit those, 80 plus targets, maybe we're not attacking Iran, we're attacking the machine that oppresses Iranians as much as it threatens everyone else. Because at the end of the day, the only language they seem to understand is strength. We tried the door, they kicked it, so now we're doing this instead. And look, I get it. Gas prices ticked up again this week. I mean, they've been going up and down like crazy. The midterms are coming, and all that is really important. But can we just remember where we were a couple of years ago? Because the people currently clutching their pearls about prices at the pump are the same ones who were totally fine with $4, $5, even $6 gas under Biden, and thought giving Iran pallets of cash at midnight with no questions asked was a great foreign policy strategy. So,
as a reminder to everyone, when there are bombings of Iran, essentially we all pay more for gas because prices of gas and prices of oil go up, as they did today. And I think this is the conundrum that the president is in.
What's the price of gas today? You know,
the barrel went up to $78
Okay.
crude. So
what's the price of a gallon of gas in the United States right now?
It's $4.30.
No, negative.
But
And what was the highest price of gas under Joe Biden?
I don't. That's
Did
not,
you ever conduct
Scott,
a
that's
meeting
actually
about
not the
gas
question.
First
The
of all,
question is how are what is
gas is lower today than it was
Scott,
before he.
no, it's
here's what I keep coming back to. Trump and his cabinet are sitting in rooms we don't have access to. They're reading intelligence we don't get to read. And maybe, just maybe, they know a few things we don't. Meanwhile, the Democrats, the same people who spent years appeasing the Iranian regime, who are bending over backwards for a regime that executes women for showing their hair, are now suddenly very concerned about what American military aggression does to prices. Gas is lower today than it was before Trump took office, in the middle of an active military operation in the Middle East. That's not nothing. The markets are nervous, but it's nowhere near the catastrophe the left predicted every time someone suggested taking Iran seriously. And we're not in a forever war. We gave them every chance to be something different. They chose this, so now we're choosing back. And here's what I want people to actually understand about what it is we're fighting, because I think we get so lost in the geopolitics of it all that we sometimes forget to name the thing clearly. We are fighting a radical Islamist death machine that has been at war with civilization for over 40 years, longer than that. And that machine has a fan club in America's greatest city, New York. Sure, it might look a little bit different, wearing DSA pins, I don't know, winning mayoral races and congressional primaries, running city hall. It doesn't carry a gun necessarily. It carries an endorsement and a get out to vote operation, but make no mistake about what it's aligned with and who it's rooting for. So then I ask, who in their right mind thinks out of all weeks, not that it is at any point, but that this particular week would be the best week to schedule a little sit down with Iran's UN ambassador? Well, none other than our favorite mayor, who apparently can't go a week without finding some creative way to make New York City an embarrassment on the world stage.
Reportedly made plans to meet with Iran's UN ambassador earlier this week. The timing could not have been worse. And the New York Post reporting this, the scheduled meeting would have unfolded after Iranian troops fired missiles at 2 commercial ships traversing the Strait of Hormuz, an action Monday in direct defiance of an interim peace agreement between the U.S. and Iran.
So let me get this straight. While the U.S. was actively striking Iran, Mamdani scheduled a meeting with Iran's United Nations ambassador at 2 UN Plaza in New York City. His International Affairs Commissioner, Anna Archila, apparently set it up. 2 other senior officials from the mayor's office were on the invite. The State Department found out, intervened, and the meeting was canceled. Archila was apparently reprimanded, but by whom exactly? The same mayor whose entire political operation is aligned with a movement that thinks infidels, which, by the way, that's you, me, that's anyone who doesn't subscribe to their religion, should be dealt with, if you know what I mean. Let's be very clear about what this is. This isn't a naive diplomatic mistake or a bureaucratic mix-up. This is an administration whose ideological home is a red-green alliance of socialists and Islamist sympathizers trying to conduct its own foreign policy with a state sponsor of terrorism while America is at war with said sponsor of terrorism, which, if you think about it, is absolutely wild. But alas, here we are. And look, like I said, I get that everyone's feeling the pinch. Affordability is a major issue, and the midterms are coming, and we'll see where all that goes. But if you zoom out for just a second, and I mean really zoom out, maybe, just maybe, we're finishing something that people before us started and never got the chance to complete, or just didn't have the balls to start. Because here's what this really looks like from 30,000 feet. Iran was selling cut-rate oil to China. China was using that cheap oil to fund its global ambitions while we paid full price. We took out Maduro and grabbed Venezuela's oil supply. We struck Iran and choked off another major Chinese energy lifeline. It's about the choke points. Hormuz, Malacca, the Black Sea. Whoever controls the choke points controls the world. And right now, America is saying it can't be China, and I agree. Iran was also strategically placed on China's Belt and Road Initiative, which is Beijing's grand plan to dominate global trade routes. That's gone now too. We're already the European Union's biggest LNG supplier, and American energy production right now is the highest in history. So if you wanted to draw up a plan to make the US the indispensable energy power of the world, while kneecapping China's supply chain at the same time, this is maybe what that could look like. Messy, loud, and absolutely chaotic to watch in real time, but maybe that's the point. It's all a moving puzzle. Israel, Turkey, Iran, Pakistan. The whole place is a problem, but somebody has to be the one moving the pieces. And right now, I think that somebody's us, because look, someone once said the art of diplomacy is telling the other man to go to hell in such a way that he looks forward to the trip. That's what Trump is saying. That's exactly what this is. Because here's the thing about Iran that nobody says out loud enough. Iran has never won a war, but they've never lost a negotiation. They are the world's greatest survivors at the table, which is exactly why you can't just negotiate with them forever. At some point, you have to change the table entirely. And that's the reality check with Iulia.